Hi,
Hi,
I'm
how are
Mary.
you?
I'm great. I'm Mary Beth, by the way. It was so lovely to meet you.
Pleasure, Mary Beth, is mine.
I am very excited to chat with you about Bad Ben because Bad Ben is an incredible found footage phenomenon thing that has really gained a huge following. And I guess my first question for you is: did you ever think that Bad Ben would get this much attention?
When you were saying phenomenon, what I was about to say was nobody was more surprised by the success and the way this has exploded than I was. I never expected this in the beginning. When I first uploaded it, I don't know if you know the backstory. I wasn't even supposed to be in it.
Oh, really?
Originally, what happened was I had hired 6 actors, and unlike a lot of indie productions, not all, but a lot, I had money set aside to actually pay each of the actors. So today there's a lot of people that'll do a production says no pay or anything like that. Well, I felt rude asking anybody to work for no pay. So they would get paid, but one by one, as the date approached to start shooting in May of 2016, they dropped out until all I had left was the female lead. Now, the original concept for the story was this was going to be a college age female at home. Her parents were away. She invites over her boyfriend and 2 other couples, and one by one, something picks them off. Your typical horror story.
Yeah.
And all I had left was the female lead. And on the Thursday before we were supposed to start shooting that weekend, I'm driving home in a pouring rainstorm. I get a text message. I look at it. It's from her. It says, moving to LA, can't be in your film. Sorry, good luck. So I said, shit. So I took the phone. I dropped it in the passenger seat of my car. And I'm like, I give up. I drive about another 10 seconds. I scoop up the phone. I start filming myself. And I say, here I am on my way home from settlement of the house I bought at the sheriff's sale on Steelmanville Road. And I pull in the driveway, flip the camera around, say, not bad for a sheriff's sale. Well, that decision I made in that little segment I filmed there became the opening scene to the movie. In one take, I did it, and I just pulled it out of my butt, the whole idea. So I said, you know what? I'll be the person in this house. And then I thought, who's going to want to see a bald, fat, 50-year-old guy running around the house getting his ass kicked by demons? But the beauty of it was by just filming myself, I didn't have to worry about people's schedules. I could wake up at 2 a.m. with an idea and shoot it. And that's what I did. So actually, when I say I wake up at 2 a.m., I shot 2 things. The first scene was that drive home I just talked about. Mm-hmm. And when I walk in the house, and then I shot the final scene where I get drugged down the steps. And then what I did was there was no script. Scripts are. Then what I did was I connected point A to point B, and I just shot stuff in between.
Wow. Okay, so you started off with the beginning and the end, and that's how you got. Wow. That's fast. So I'm curious about how you shot the end then, because it's a little bit more involved than just you driving and shooting yourself. So how did you kind of pull off that ending?
Well, I did have a buddy help me. He actually played Bad Ben in Steelmanville Road when you saw the creature walk in the back door. And then in Badder Ben, when you saw that big, goofy, cheesy looking character bending over, that was my buddy, Matt. And I said to him, are you going to be able to drag me across the floor? And this guy, to him, it was like me dragging a feather across the floor. Because I put on a harness and we attached a chain to the back and we made it look like it was wrapped around my neck. So he just drugged me across that floor with ease. And then with a little bit of movie magic, I was able to paint him out. So
cool. Okay.
Looked like the chain was going to the wood stove at the other end of this room. So
you had never made a movie before this, right? Like this was your first kind of foray into making movies?
I had been making television commercials as an independent contractor for Comcast. So we're not talking commercials for Pizza Hut. we're talking a commercial for like Joe's Pizza down the street. So that's what I was doing. I was also writing screenplays and pitching them. And, you know, unless your father's last name is Sorkin, it's very tough to break into the business. So people used to say to me, you have your own cameras and why don't you make your own film? But what they don't understand is just because you own a camera doesn't mean you can make Avatar. You know, I didn't have those type of cameras. So what I had was GoPros that I used to make them look like security cameras.
Oh, okay. So the security cameras are GoPros that you put up around your house, the house.
Correct. Originally, those cameras, I did have cameras in the house because up until 2013, I was the sole caregiver for my elderly mother. And she passed peacefully in 2013. And she doesn't make any appearances that I know of in any of the films. But I had these cameras up to watch her and watch the home health aides that were here. And at night, when I put her to bed, I would sometimes pick up my phone and look at the cameras. And I would say, man, you know what would be creepy as shit? If something walked across that room right now. So that's where I got the idea that I put up that I made the GoPro look. Actually, at that time, I only had one GoPro. So I had to keep moving it around the house.
No way. Oh, that's so cool.
And I had to go back to every time I had to reshoot something or shoot something else in the same room. I had to sit there and realign that camera to exactly where it was before.
Wait, that's so cool because I never would have guessed that watching it. Like it looks every single, wow, that's a pain in the ass.
When you're doing a found footage film that's supposed to be shot on security cameras, you actually can't make it look too good or it doesn't look realistic.
Yeah.
But it worked. And like I said, nobody was more surprised by this than me.
Did you have plans for a second one when you had made this, or did the second idea come from like after you released the first and you're like, oh, people like really have an appetite for this?
Well, actually, the second one kind of bombed, but let me tell you how I got to that. I was the first one, I thought I was making a horror film, but people found my accent, which they say is a Philly. I don't even know what the hell a Philly accent is, and I don't live. I've never lived in Philadelphia, but it's a Northeast accent. And
I'm on the East Coast too, so I heard your accent and I was immediately like taken home.
That was like where I would, this everyman walking around the house, and the way I would deal, like I'd say, stop it when it's pulling the chair or someone's pulling the chair, or the different ways I would talk to whatever I was experiencing. I thought I was making a horror, but the fans found it to be creepy, but funny. So what I decided was, after the success of this one, because it took off right out the gate, surprised the hell out of me. 1.2 million minutes streamed the first month. And since then, it's over 150 million minutes, just Bad Ben. And what I decided was for a prequel to explain why all these cameras were in the house. So I actually this time did assemble a cast, and it was going to be darker, more serious, and the fans didn't like it. Now, in all fairness to Steelmanville Road, it did find its own audience, but not nearly as popular as Bad Ben was. And that's because I'm blessed in that the fans have fallen in love with the character I play, who I call like Michael Scott in The Office. The guy thinks he's brilliant, but he's actually a moron. And that's who Tom Riley is. So after the second one didn't do as good, when we went to do the third one, I said, you know what? I'm going to embrace the fact that people find these funny. And that's what we did. I got 3 people. 2 of them are sketch comedians, and the other one, David, was actually taught me screenwriting. I took a class with him, and we filmed it as if Tom Riley actually didn't die, and we showed how he didn't die. And then they bring him back to the house to do a documentary, and it just embraced the funny in it. And then the fourth one did well. It was the Mandela Effect. And just to show you how my mind works, this was not like me sitting down and thinking, what's the next idea? I had a friend come to me and say, dude, did you ever hear about the Mandela Effect? I said, Nelson Mandela? He said, yeah. I said, no, what? He says, there are people that believe they watched Nelson Mandela's funeral on television while he was in prison. I said, Nelson Mandela got out of prison and became the first Black president of South Africa. So he goes, yeah, but there are people that believe that. And he says, do you remember Sinbad in the movie Kazam or Shazam? I said,
Shazam.
Yeah. Movie was never made. I said, what? I saw trailers for that. Well, it's a fact. Even even Sinbad admitted it. Now, there was a movie with Shaquille O'Neal called Shazam or Kazam, but they just made this like it's fake memories, they call it. So it basically is saying we live in parallel universes, and some people remember that from a different universe. So that's why I embraced that just off that idea. And we did the Mandela Effect, where my character keeps coming to the house over and over again after settlement, and different things happen to him along the way. So, and we've kept going, and I just finished, we just finished Bad Ben Benign. And yes. Of course it's called Benign because it's Ben 9, just being cute there. And
very good though. I love, when I saw that, I was like, incredible. I love how you've embraced that though. Like it's lovely and fun and just a good time. It's such a good, fun thing.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm having the time of my life. Because
and that's what fucking matters. So sorry. Like, that's what matters. I'm like, that you're having an amazing time making these movies and everyone else loves to watch them. Like, it's so exciting that this is so fun. Like the whole process of watching them and making them, like, it's so good to hear that.
Well, that's part of what made Pandemic, the 8th film last year, so much fun, was because we were at a stage in the pandemic where we didn't know, where there was no vaccine at the time. There was really, people were getting it and dying. There was no recovering. I mean, a lot of people recovered, but 600,000 Americans didn't. So I wasn't going to risk bringing people in this. I wasn't going to get sick and die for a movie, but I said the fans are very, I've got the greatest fans. And when I put out there, I said, who would like to be in a Bad Ben film? I said, you have to shoot your own segment and you can do it. And sometimes when these filmmakers contact me and they say, I want to make my own film, what kind of, I just got to get a camera. And I would say to them, do you own an iPhone or an Android? You can make a film there, because there was I'm going to sound stupid here because I can't remember the name of it. You know, the series, The Crown?
Yeah. Oh, Claire Foy.
The movie
Unsane, the movie that Steven Soderbergh did, I believe, that was all shot on an iPhone
7.
Yep.
And, that's groundbreaking, basically. So these fans of mine, 35 different people, shot their own segments with, their spouses or their roommates, whoever was, they live with, or was, because I said to them, if it looks to me like you're going out in public, I won't use your segment. So you gotta be safe doing this. And they just did. Everybody in it did a great job. And I assembled them so it looked like they were contacting me for advice, as for me to tell them whether it was paranormal or related to the, the pandemic. And it worked out well. But a little secret about it, at the end of Pandemic, the 8th film, the last film, there is a scene that happens during the credits. A lot of people tend to turn the credits off, but there's a scene that happens that if people haven't seen that little segment, they might not quite understand the very beginning of Bad Ben 9. They'll understand it, but I will say that Benign picks up exactly at the moment Pandemic ends.
Oh, okay. A good tip for everyone excited for Bad Ben Benign. The other question I had for you was like, what are a couple of the scenes that you're super excited that you were able to kind of execute? Because I know this was a low budget, it was really just you, and especially the first one, like there's some really impressive stuff that you're able to accomplish with really just you. And so I'm just curious about some of the scenes that you were able to film that you were exceptionally proud of being able to get done.
Well, to me, 6 years later and 9 films in, the scariest scene of all of them occurred during daylight, and that was the music box and how it jumped on the table.
Yeah.
It was just, I had my iPhone on a little selfie stick, which turns into a tripod at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and my hand was off to the side, and I just went like that with the table when I did it. And making it start and stop was easy. I just froze the frame as I was talking to it, and then I would start it rolling again. But that scene where I said, "Did someone hurt you?" and the table jumps, that was very scary. To me, that's the scariest scene of all of them, in all the films. But there was a scene, and I think it was The Way In, where I'm sitting at the kitchen table and all the cabinets fly open.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually pretty Adobe. This isn't a commercial for Adobe, but I had the Creative Suite, and they have some amazing things you can do, and for a very affordable price. And in fact, if you happen to be a student, it's even more affordable.
Yeah.
What I did was I got up from my seat, went and opened all those cabinets, and then went back to my seat, and I was able to basically like do a cutout around where I was sitting. So that scene where it looks like everything flies open was just me. I did that all by myself, and I thought that turned out good.
Movie magic. And you edit all these movies yourself? Wow.
I'm a one-man show. And can I tell you, it's so much, because I've loved everyone I've worked with. But when you work with other people, it's such a pain in the ass, because scheduling people, getting their schedules to align, getting them over. And see, I might one day shoot 4 hours, and I might one day shoot 15 minutes. And when you're bringing people from any distance, it just gets complicated. But when
Yeah.
you yourself, I mean, when I'm the only one directing, acting, and everything in a film, I may, as an actor, find that the director's an asshole, but I know him so well that, hey, we'll get through it.
And so is the house on Steelman Road, is it your house? It's your house, correct? Because you're sitting in the house in the basement right now, correct?
This is my house because it was the cheapest place I could rent to make. I have one roommate. Anybody that's ever watched our Facebook Live broadcast have seen my roommate Holly. And but yeah, it's just us and 3 rescue animals.
It's a beautiful house, by the way.
Too damn big.
It's huge.
It's too big. It was the intention when I was having this house built, was it not for it to be this big? And you might say, how could you not think the house was going to be that big? But there's like the garage was actually supposed to be where the family room is, but we're in wetlands. Wetlands borders my. I couldn't dig down for a basement, so we built the basement above ground, brought in fill. So the garage that was supposed to be the family room went down. So that's 400 extra square feet. But honestly, the time will come that, because I'm getting older, I just turned 56. And by the way, that brings up an interesting point. The older you get, the less appeal a lifetime warranty has on anything you buy. But I am going to wind up one day in a flat rancher with no steps, I can say, because I'm getting too old for this.
So did you ever? Oh,
sorry, I apologize.
oh,
It does. The fact that I shot in my own house does bring some interesting visitors to the house at times. Normally, because I actually do have security cameras in this house. Now I can, is this gonna play as audio or video too?
It's video.
The reason why is I'll show you here so you have an idea. This is actually cameras around the house.
Oh.
So like the driveway. Let me see if this will open up big enough for you. There you go. That's the driveway. Can you see that? All right.
Yeah.
But that's the front of the house. That's the shot you always see of me walking up the walkway. That's actually the walkway.
Oh,
And
wow.
I also have motion sensors out there. So when people pull in the driveway, I know. And if I'm here, I look at the cameras and I might go out and say hello to them. But I can normally tell that they're what I call Benite. If they get out and I see them turn around, they're holding up their phone like this, taking a picture with the house in the background. They're taking a selfie. And then I get tagged on Instagram a few hours later. Visited the Bad house today. And, but the best, and now this is not saying anybody that's watching this that has stopped by, do not take offense to this, because the bar was set so high by this one family. But last month, the family stopped by and they all had custom-made Bad Ben t-shirts. And they had a 2-year-old who had a t-shirt on that said Good Ben. It was awesome. But yeah, we get visitors.
Wow. Your fans are incredible. Like, it is really well, like on Facebook, like the community that's come out of this movie is really cool.
That is the biggest benefit. I mean, financially, it's paid okay. You know, the rates change constantly, usually going down. But that has been, you know, obviously a benefit. But the number one benefit has been the people I've met have just been all. The funny thing is, I'm never recognized when I'm out. So, I mean, I've been recognized by 3 people in 6 years locally. But Pete, the barman from Badder Ben, the guy you saw that I walked in his shop, he gets recognized all the time. And he's on screen for like 15 seconds. Now, the past year and a half, wearing masks when you go out, it's kind of easy to avoid detection. But it's funny because most people don't know. I did, however, the guy that collects the trash, they come by now with they don't have people that dump trash cans anymore. It's a truck that reaches out, grabs the can, dumps it. Guy points out the window, I saw your film. And so that happens a lot. But yeah, it's all been shot here, viewed, you know, like I said, I just completed the 9th one this past summer. And it's the benefit has been the people I've got to meet, yourself included.
It's awesome. It's so like, and I'm a big found footage person, and I think people that love found footage kind of are a close knit community that find each other, because I feel like we are very vocal supporters of a subgenre that's kind of maligned a lot of the time. So I feel like a lot of us band together, especially when we find something like this, because it's so genuine and you're just like, and you are so engaged. And like another thing with found footage is I feel like the creators are always pretty engaged with their community too. And it's just like, it reminds you of why you love horror movies and like why you love filmmaking. I think, at least for me, that's been kind of that, like, this is like a nice kind of reminder that these people really do care about this movie, and it's just a kind of a lovely experience.
You gotta have thick skin though in some cases.
Yes.
I had the reviews started coming in for the first film. Now that was this time, October, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 years ago. Yeah, 2016. The first 4 reviews that came in on Amazon were like, this is great, what a hidden gem, and 5 stars, and my head was bigger than my head actually is. Then after these 4 fantastic reviews comes the 5th review, and it was 1 star. And the lady writes, this is why people hire casts and crews, because you need other people. This looked terrible. This was junky, and I'm so disappointed. So I actually got in trouble for this. I went and looked at her Amazon profile, and it can show stuff you've bought in the past, or like wish list, or things you've purchased and done reviews on. So I go look at her purchase history, and I see one of the things she bought was wart cream. So I write a reply to her comment about how terrible my film was and that I ought to have help and stuff like that. It was garbage. And I wrote, "I am sorry I disappointed you with my film, and good luck with your warts." So she replies, "I'll have you know, my warts, I have a very good doctor and my warts are fine. Thank you." So what I did was I then went back and deleted my comment. So what you see is this lady writes a review on my film that says, "This film was terrible. You ought to have more help. This is why people use casts and crews and don't do filming themselves. And I'll have you know, my warts are fine. I have a great doctor." So she looked insane. Well, I wound up, I actually cannot comment on anything on Amazon anymore. I'm not allowed. They banned me for life. If I was to buy Band-Aids, they'll ask, "How was your purchase?" And I can't comment on it.
Wow. That's an incredible story for don't read the comments, but that's incredible. That's an incredible way of using someone's Amazon history against them too. That makes me, oh my God. That's incredible.
One of the other things I found that karma plays a big role in the experiences you have in life in general. And with that, I am a person that can genuinely find excitement in other people's successes. And like, some people are just so jealous when they see someone else doing well. They think that should be me or whatever. But with that being said, can I talk about another found footage film that I didn't make for a second?
Oh my God, of course.
Have you seen Leaving DC?
Yes.
So good.
I love Leaving DC. It is so good. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're saying it, because I feel like not enough people have seen that. And that was one of the first, actually, Leaving DC was how I got introduced to your movie. So I saw it, I watched it on Amazon on a lark. Like, it was one of my recommended movies. So I like found footage and I thought, okay, well, there's some really cool hidden gems on Amazon. And I watched it and then said Bad Ben was one of the recommended ones. And that's how I found you.
My fans would tell me recommendations. And the other one was, I've been told, but I only watched the first one so far, The Blackwell Ghost.
Yes, I've also watched those. I also enjoy those quite a bit as well.
And Hell House was good.
Hell House is really good. I love Hell House.
I haven't seen the second and the third one of that yet, but I like that. But Leaving DC, had he not introduced the one character during the film, like his girlfriend or something, he would have been the only person in that entire film too. And it was,
well, it's so creepy. And like, so, and I live right outside of DC, so that piqued my interest because I'm from the area. And he also has OCD, and I have OCD, and I was really excited to see like, oh, this is going to be really, and I really enjoyed just all the different parts of it. And it was really creepy. It was really creepy.
Yeah, it was. And it was, I mean, I gotta be honest with you, it's one of my favorite found footage films that I've seen.
I love to hear that, because it's also one of my favorites.
My hat off.
Yeah. And so I wanted to talk about the Bad Ben video game very quickly, because that just came out last week, or well, this week, but last week when this goes up. And just wanted to hear your thoughts about Bad Ben being a video game. And you voiced your character in the game, correct?
Correct. And it right here, sitting right here where I'm at, is where I did the voices. And the fellas, when they first approached me about it, I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. And so it took a little while, because you don't just throw these things together. But he gave me the script. First of all, I had no idea what to expect. And when they sent me a still shot of me you can't call it a cartoon, but 2D Tom, animated Tom, standing in my own family room, I was like, oh my God, I had to look twice because I came up on my phone. I'm like, that's not a frame grab of my film. That is they converted it into graphic. And I said, that's too cool. And then they told me they needed lines. Well, when he told me there was going to be a function where you can just randomly hit a button and I'll say a curse word, I laughed. And the evil Mrs. Biggins, my roommate Holly, when I'm reading the lines that they want me to say, and I got to that point, she just lost it. And even you heard the uncut version of me doing it, I just start laughing at the lines where he says, the person that wrote the script to me says, leave a pause in between so I have time to work with. So I have to say, shit, fuck, yes. And he made that a key. So as you're playing the game, if you just want me to curse, you press the button. And it's hysterical. And speaking of that, when people write me and say, oh, my 8-year-old loves your films, I think, oh my God, my mouth is filthy in these things. I have stuff sitting back here on my shelves. When I do Facebook Lives, I'll do like a giveaway. I'll have something, we'll play trivia, or I'll just have somebody randomly, I'll pick a name and we give stuff away and we ship it to them. So one of the trivia questions one time was, how many times did I say the F word in? I think it was The Way In. And so the way I would know that is I can take the closed captioning file, which is basically a text file, and I did a word search. In a 90-minute film, I said the F word 180 times. So that means twice a minute I was saying, and I said, no way. And I went back and I'm like, oh my God, you're disgusting. And, but for him to make that, for the designers of the game to make that a function was just brilliant. And so it's turned out, I had a chance to sit down with it twice. And I've only got to the point where it's telling me, oh, I'm going to go to bed. I'll deal with this tomorrow. So I got to see, because I see these reviews people are writing and they're talking about how awesome the ending is and this is and that is. And I still have to get through it all to see how I wind up. I was hoping, because if you've seen it, he's got me kind of with a belly. I got this little fat belly and it looks like I got sweat stains, but I think it's just the angle. But no, it's brilliant. The game is brilliant. And I mean, this can change by the hour, but I was just told by the Dread guys about an hour ago that it's the number 3 internet, played in a browser game right now on the internet.
Yeah, it's doing super well, which we're really excited, which is like super exciting to see. And I'm really glad that people are so excited about the game because it's fun, and I think again just speaks to kind of the appetite that people have for this movie and this property. And I have one more question for you, and my question is, what does the future hold for Bad Ben?
Well, I can't give away a spoiler for 9 because I get in trouble, but I'm already have put together an outline for what Bad Ben 10 is going to encompass. But here's a spoiler I'll give. That's not a spoiler for 9. Okay. It's a spoiler for the final film. And I want your opinion.
Final film. 10 is going to be the final one?
Not necessarily. It could be. Because the promise I make to my ardent fans is that if you keep watching, I'll keep making, is what I say. But the final film, whenever that happens, I'm going to tell you, and I want your honest opinion on it.
Okay.
Anybody that watches this, they can feel free to either email me at nigel@nigelbach.com or on Twitter @NigelBach, or however, there's a million ways to get a hold of me. But here's the idea.
Okay.
The final film is going to begin with the final scene of the previous film. So say in the previous film, I'm standing there with a cross and I say, I won. And then the film ends. The final film's going to begin with me standing there saying, I won. Say, okay, cut. That's a wrap. So that's the end. And I put it down. Somebody says, good job, Nigel. And I said, thank you. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, ladies. And everybody leaves the house. Well, from all this fucking around over 6 or 7 years of joking and poking fun at the paranormal and all, I actually pissed someone evil off. So now what happens, Nigel Bach, the real me, is now has conjured up evil into his house and has to deal with it for real.
Okay, I do love that though. I love a little meta storytelling, and that's cool. I like that a lot.
People are going to find out that Tom Riley and Nigel Bach are pretty similar in a lot of ways, but I'm going to be like, holy shit, this isn't a joke. What's going on? And that noise down there is not somebody banging on something. That's something down there. So that's how I plan on ending the series. So I'd like everybody's honest opinion. I already got one, which is good. So let me mark that down.
Yeah, write it down. That sounds incredible. I think that's a great way to end it and end the series, if that is the true end of Bad Ben. But thank you so much, Nigel, for taking the time to chat with me today about Bad Ben. I'm super excited for everyone to watch the new movie, play the game, and hopefully there'll be some new converts to the gospel of Bad Ben after watching this interview.
Finding them every day. And thank you so much for wanting to talk to me. And I want that blanket behind you.
Target, $15. So you too can have this blanket from Target.
You see the Haunted Highway, the Bad Ben 7, the Haunted Highway.
Oh, no, I haven't yet. I'm sorry. No, I have not yet.
In that film, we're driving past the Kmart that closed in Summers Point. And guess what? It just opened yesterday as a Target.
Go to the Halloween section.
I'm going.
Good.
If not, I'm back to you because I want that one. But thank you so much for wanting to interview me. And it was hopefully you'll have me back someday.
I would love that. Thank you so much.